Well, a very fact of life is that it comes to an end sooner or later. And too many of us ignore that fact until it's too late. And as a result, death becomes a very painful experience, not just for the person who's dying, but for everyone around that person. And it doesn't have to be that way. Yes, denial is extremely common. It's especially common among physicians. I think many people become physicians because death is so scary for them. And as a result, they don't treat their patients very well either.
I knew somebody who died not long ago, and when it became apparent that she was going to die, suddenly her oncologist, with whom she had a very close relationship, disappeared.
Yes, I have an entire chapter in my book on when doctors disappear and how to avoid that, keep that from happening, simply by saying to the doctor, I know you've done your best. I appreciate all you've done for me, but I expect you to be with me through the long haul.
But I think at that point the doctor probably feels that she no longer has much power, and so she's failed you.
Well, that's exactly the point. And if the patient or the patient's family can say that I recognize that you've done the best that can be done and that there's nothing more to be done in terms of treatment, but there's a lot that you can do in terms of making my end much more comfortable and much more even enjoyable experience. One of the problems is that doctors will say to themselves, well, I should be devoting my time to the living and not to the dying. But, dying is a part of living. And we've separated these two things in a way that is really detrimental to everybody.
So what makes for a good death?
You know that there's no such thing as a good death. And most people choose to die the way they have lived. I may go out raging against the dying of the light. Other people, like my mother-in-law, come to acceptance. They're very peaceful. They were very comfortable signing that do not resuscitate statement and saying goodbye to their loved ones in a gentle way. But we all choose our own way of dying, and I think that what families have to do is come to terms with that you cannot always bring people to acceptance. Although it is easier to die in acceptance, it's not always possible.
And even if people say, I accept the fact I'm going to die, they fight like mad to stay alive.
Yes, they may fight like mad to stay alive. They may want to live to see a grandchild born or a grandchild get married or some other kind of milestone in life. And, one of the interesting things that I learned is that some people prefer to die in privacy. And one of my friends stayed with her loved one day after day after day. And finally, someone in the hospice said to her, you deserve a day off. He's not dying this minute. Just take a day off, enjoy yourself. And that was the day he died. Now, she felt bad about that, but she didn't understand that he wanted to die in privacy.